Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Real Estate Matters. For nearly 11 years, the voice of real estate in Flagler County and Palm Coast, Florida. I'm Toby Tobin. I'm the publisher of GoToby.com, contributing writer to the Palm Coast Observer, and I'm a Florida licensed realtor with Landmark Group at Compass in Flagler Beach. In the studio with me today with co-host Anna Maria Long. Hello, Anna Maria.
Hi, Toby.
How are you? And we have guest. We have Donald O'Brien from Hayward Brown Insurance. He's not here as a politician today. We're going to be talking insurance. We'll keep politics out of the conversation.
I would like that, Toby. Appreciate it.
We'll do our best.
That's the only way I could get him to come. So anyway, we want to thank our sponsors. Sponsors are the Home Builders Association, Veranda Bay. Veranda Bay is our new prime sponsor as of about 3 weeks ago, and it's a private waterfront community of lots and luxury homes on the Intercoastal Waterway in Flagler Beach. Now they're doing so well, they're opening a new phase, and you can buy a lot now and take up to 5 years to build. So the Home Builders Association I mentioned, and Hammock Community Church, that happens to be my church over on A1A in the Hammock. Small enough to serve you, large enough to love you.
Small enough to know you, large enough to serve you.
Thank you. You can remember better than I can read. Okay,
I'm not a paid spokesperson.
So far this month, how are we doing? 177 homes have sold through the MLS system, Flagler County MLS, single-family homes. The median price, $365K. In the entire month of June last year, 286 homes were sold. So we're running behind last year's run rate on homes sold. The median price a year ago was $370. So we're within shooting distance of last year's median price. The days on market of those sold homes is the median days on market 50. So that's I think we all recognize and agree that we're in a down market. It's definitely a softening market. The builders certainly agree, and everyone you talk to says traffic is down.
Toby, does the homes that are in the tracts, are they captured on time and market, or is that just the resales?
The ones that register their sales through MLS are captured.
Got it.
But we have to admit that the numbers we use here, we miss some things. Even in the resale market, we miss the for sale by owner.
Right.
In the new construction market, we missed most of the custom builders.
Okay.
Because, many of them build 6 homes a year, 12 homes, 15 homes a year. The large production builders, many of them are part of the MLS system, but some are not. And roughly a third of the production builders are not within the MLS system. So, but we have to just go with the numbers we've got.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is that's been consistent throughout the year. So you're still measuring apples to apples.
For me, it's consistent for 20 years.
Got it.
So
right.
So I'm making the same mistakes now that I made 20 years ago.
Consistency matters.
Yeah, exactly. Homes under $250,000 or $250 or lower, 10 homes are sold. Days on market, 10 days. That's lower than normal.
Wow.
Way lower than normal.
They're getting snatched up.
And lower than last week. But what that's saying is that the homes that are priced right are not sitting on the market.
There's talk about, from builders, there's talk about homes that are like waterside lots on the canals and things like that. Mm-hmm. If they're going to be a $250 or lower sale, where it makes sense that with the impact fee increases and things like that, that it's getting to the point that it may make sense to buy one of those homes, tear it down, and rebuild.
Mm-hmm. Well, the homes that are on the saltwater canals, a high number of them are older homes built in the 80s and 90s. And, they have 8-foot ceilings, they have galley kitchens and little tiny bathrooms. And the floor plans are not what people are looking to buy and want. So the cost of renovating would be so high, you might just as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's still a young house to tear down, but because of the reasons you stated, it makes sense to tear it down.
And those, under the intrinsic value of a waterfront lot has gotten to the point where it justifies a bigger, more expensive home.
It does. You're paying for the lot, not the house, in a situation like what you described.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you realize we have 23 miles of saltwater canal?
I have heard that statistic before, yes.
So that, and of course, the canal has a left bank and a right bank. So we actually have 46 linear miles of saltwater canal front lots. Most of them are improved already. They have homes.
I mean, I know it's anecdotal. I just had a client that sold their house last week for, it appears to $1 million. Just a regular canal lot home. So
it's similar to the Flagler Beach lots, right? No matter if it's a very small, 1,200 square foot house that's much older, it's not, the selling price isn't really related to the house. It's related to the lot and its proximity to the ocean or the intracoastal waterway.
Well, that's why Veranda Bay is doing so well selling there, because if you look at the whole east coast of Florida, it's one of the last areas along the intracoastal waterway where you have available building lots for sure. So here's an interesting, we'll do homes, the number of listings, 1,435.
Oh, don't forget our $1 million plus.
Oh, okay. $1 million plus 4 homes sold.
A little lower, but still lower, keeping track. 3 out of 4 of them were cash, I think. Tracks.
And of the 10 homes that were sold for $250 or less, half of those were cash too. So at the high end, at both ends of the market, we've been seeing this for several months now. At both ends of the market, there's a lot of cash. People, the investors at the low end, wealthy people at the high end.
Right.
And at the low end, if you're going to buy to resell or rehab or to put into a rental program, you're probably not getting a mortgage. You're paying cash. And at the high end, you're paying cash because you can.
It's wealthy people on both sides of it. It's just for different reasons.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, just because you're buying a low-end house doesn't mean you're not wealthy.
It means you're going to get more wealthy.
Right. That's how they got wealthy in the first place.
Correct.
1,435 homes listed. 326 homes in the pending file. So these are MLS listings that are under contract. They don't count in the listed number. So it's 1,400 listed plus 326.
So that's about just a little over a 3-month inventory, right?
No. But the pending.
No, not the pending. You said the listed.
No, the listing is 1,435, but we're only up to 177 homes.
Oh, okay. Oh, so that's a pretty large inventory. We're
in the 7-month supply range, which means that's a buyer's market.
Yeah. Got it.
But here's an interesting number. The number of building permits issued by the City of Palm Coast to date this month, 101. And that's a little below what they've been running. So you'd say that we're signaling a softening market. But the number applied for is 158. Now, why would the number applied for be substantially above the number issued? I think, Anne Marie, you know the answer to that.
It could be the incoming large raise of impact fees that are now taking, so between the utility increases just a few months ago and then the parks, fire, and transportation impact fees, we were going from about a $21,000 impact fee to almost a $32,000 impact fee come October 1st and 15th, respectively, with different impact fees taking effect.
So even in a softening market, the builders are conscious of that, and they're getting their permits because the impact fees ultimately ultimately are paid by the builder at permit time,
but passed on.
So
if you're
in the price of the house.
doing a custom build as well, if you're like a consumer getting ready to build with a custom builder, this is something to think about and make sure that your permit fees are paid and applied for in Palm Coast. And it's important that they're paid at time of permit before October 1st.
Okay, so I looked,
speed up your plans.
Yeah, I looked down the list of builders that are applying. So if you look at that list of 158 builders, here are some of the names that pop up. Taylor Morrison, who's building in Colbert Landings. Miranda Homes, which does a lot of infill building.
They're also doing, I saw them on your project list. I was reviewing it for a realtor. They're in a community. I can't recall which one. There's like 5 builders in it.
Seminole Palms.
Yes.
Seminole Palms. So,
and a few of, actually, several of these are in Seminole Palms.
And we got Colbert Landings, Reverie, Sable Preserve, but it's Meritage Homes, Dreamfinders, Starlight Homes, Richmond American Homes, Century Communities, and Holiday Builders. Those are the builders that have multiple applications for permits. So here's some news I just discovered this morning. Publix just bought a Beach Village out parcel. And Beach Village is the Publix Plaza down at the corner of Moody Boulevard or State Road 100 and Roberts Road. So it's actually within the out parcel lots are within Flagler, the city of Flagler Beach, and it's right next door to the ViStar Credit Union that just was recently built. No word yet on what they're planning to do there because you're saying Publix bought a lot where the Publix is? Just as an out parcel, okay. Yeah. So
Perfect.
I don't know whether they're planning a gas station as a Circle K just 2 lots away, so it's probably not a gas station.
I've never seen a Publix gas station.
No, but they do have liquor stores.
I thought they just put a liquor store in there next to that store.
Well, I don't know. But anyway, that's what they did. It's public record, so I can't argue with it.
No, but now we have to speculate.
Could they do a
Something has to keep me up at night.
There?
Okay, well, we'll wait till the end of the show if we ever run out of... If we don't run out of time, which we never do.
Make you buy stuff when you go in to get your prescription.
Well, that's true. Anyway,
the whole point.
that's the news. Now, the main reason we asked Don to be here is insurance, and right after the short break, we'll get into that topic. Don't go away. We'll be right back, folks.
Hi, this is Ken Belshie at Veranda Bay, inviting you to see over 40 new, never-released home sites. Phase 1 sold out in record time, so don't miss your chance on Phase 2. All home sites have planned water access with resort-style amenities. These are big, estate-sized lots. Schedule your private showing now at verandabay.com.
On the water, beyond belief, Veranda Bay.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for staying with us. This is the second half of Real Estate Matters. We have Don O'Brien from Hayward Brown Insurance here, which will lead us right into that main topic for today. And we have Anna Maria Long also. And another shout out to Veranda Bay, our new prime sponsor, luxury homes on the Intercoastal Waterway in Flagler Beach. According to a news item I read today from, I think it was Newsweek magazine that they put it out, they said Florida's insurer of last resort, which is Citizens Property Insurance Corp., has trimmed its total policy count to under 800,000 policies, the lowest number reported by the not-for-profit company in 3 years. Its size ballooned over the last few years due to several private insurers going bust, leaving the state or reducing coverage in high-risk regions. And recent legislation efforts included a reform of the state's tort legislation meant to cut down on widespread fraud, fraud in Florida.
A lot of fraud in Florida.
I can't believe it. And excessive litigation in Florida. I can't believe that either in Florida and the property insurance sector. And the approval of new insurers coming into the state. Since lawmakers passed the tort reform legislation, 12 new companies have entered the Florida market. Good news. And since 2024, 6 of 10 national companies operating in Florida have expanded their coverage, and 4 have filed for rate increases. So,
okay, Toby, you just gave my whole report, so we're done.
I was a casualty of Citizens on my last house, which was also my first house. They sent me my letter that said, you can't sit at our table anymore. And we're moving you to a different insurer when they started that cut. Mm-hmm. So I felt the direct effect of that. I will say they did a good job of making sure that you went with a completely unknown random insurer that did not drastically increase your rate, which was that's the most important part. That your policy is the same and your rate doesn't go wild and make it unaffordable for you. So that was good. And the Florida Home Builders Association and in turn the Flagler HBA were very much a part of the tort legislation. And because the fraud and excessive litigation, it directly relates back to our industry. So, Don, how do you see it in your world?
Yeah, I mean, Toby hit on some of the things I was going to talk about, and those are great points. Citizens for the first time in 2 years took the inventory down under 1 million, just like you talked about. And theoretically, we would like to see Citizens with 0 policies, because that means that there's a healthy private market that's competitive, and that there's places for all properties to get insured. Because the Citizens is as we say, the insurer of last resort. That's when someone can't go anywhere else. The
insurance companies. There's a whole reinsurance industry behind them. They'll fill up with policies, but then they offload some of the risk to a third party, I think they're called reinsurers. Reinsurers. With Citizens, the reinsurance company is the state taxpayers.
Correct, and they can assess up to 100%. To recover their costs.
Yeah,
and
if they lose,
even if you
on a disaster, they can come after us.
Correct, and so we want to have a healthy private market. That's exactly right. And so we're seeing a lot more of that, where we see some new companies coming in and they're doing what we call Citizens takeouts, which is what you experienced, Anna Maria, and we want that. We want the business to be back to private carriers. So. That's important. I wrote the term stabilization. I think that's a summation. That's really what we're seeing right now in the market. We're not seeing huge decreases, but we're certainly seeing stabilization in premiums. A lot of my renewals are coming in flat over the last 6 months, which is
that's what people want to hear.
Yeah, we want to see that. I still worry about some of the fraud out there. I just experienced it this week with a client that I recommended that they get a roofing inspector come over, or a contractor to actually just give them numbers about what it would cost to replace this roof, because they really had no idea. And the first thing that contractor did that came in was to hand them an assignment of benefits form and say, hey, let's just get your insurance company to pay for this.
No.
And
that's how we got here.
I thought the legislation had changed that.
Well, they can still get it. They can still use the assignment of benefits. There's just a lot more restrictions on.
They made it tougher,
usage.
but not impossible.
Right. So, it's like anything else. You pass a law, and then people that want to try to circumvent the law, or
there's a loophole everywhere.
Find a loophole, they'll eventually find it, and then we have to close that. So these are the those are the things that are happening, and we are truly, you and I were talking about it offline before the show started. We're in a global market. Florida is impacted by the global market, especially when it comes to reinsurance, because many of our carriers that write business in the state of Florida, they have to backstop their exposure by buying reinsurance in the global market, and to the extent that those rates go up, that impacts what we're seeing locally.
I'm on the trustees board of my church, and our property insurance this year went up substantially, and our reinsurance company now is Lloyd's of London.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we see that, and there's no getting around the fact that we live in a high risk, area,
Yeah.
high risk state, high risk area. There's no getting around the fact that we're going to continue to have the impacts of the global warming and climate change that impacts the climate and storms, the severity of storms. Those are facts.
Yeah. Well, one of the big things that is impacting people that they build a home or bought a home that had a 30-year roof on it, and then they go to their insurance company to renew, and the insurance company says, "Well, it's over 15 years old, and
Better get a new one."
You got to get a new roof, or we won't insure you again. And
Even though the shingles have always been 30-year shingles, they're still 30-year shingles.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's not that the roof won't last 30 or 40 years. It's the fact that the insurance companies don't want them. So, yes, I mean, a tile roof, when I started in the business, 40 years on a tile roof and up to 20 years on an asphalt shingle roof, and now it's 15 and maybe 20, 25, that's just that those are what the guidelines are. It doesn't mean your roof is not going to last. It's just,
just don't change insurers.
Exactly.
And don't have a claim.
There's a company that, I won't mention their name, but they advertise heavily on TV. There's a spray-on roof coating that they advertise adds 5 years, adds to the life of your roof. Does that extend your, reduce your liability when you go to talk to insurance? And are they going to give you 5 years credit?
No. Nope. I have not seen any carrier recognize that. The only thing you can do if you have an older roof, and you can get a licensed roofing contractor or inspector to sign on the dotted line saying that you have at least 3 years of useful life left on the roof, then the carrier cannot cancel you for an older roof.
Okay, but that inspector has to be independent of a roofing company?
No, it can be I believe it can be a licensed roofing contractor that can sign it, or an inspector. The downside is find someone that'll do it.
It could be the spray-on roofing company that says that we've extended.
I guess if they're
also a private inspector,
if they're licensed.
Yeah, I haven't really looked
interesting
into that,
question.
Yeah, that is interesting.
now that's a business plan.
Yeah.
The downside to that issue is, like, I've had that happen with some clients over in Island Estates, Hammock Dunes, that have the tile roofs, and they're older. Nothing wrong with the roofs. Yeah. But the downside is the insurance company will take that letter for 1 year and make you get another inspection the next year.
So you're still paying for the inspection each year.
$400 or $500 for an inspection.
Which is way cheaper than a new roof.
Yeah.
So you can do the math however you want to cut it.
Exactly.
So one of the other things that Florida takes a hit from in just overall cost of living, aside from insurance on your homes, is insurance on your car.
Yes.
And this is a real estate show, but cost of living does affect the real estate market. So anything going on in the auto industry that we should know about that's going to make things better?
Yeah, interesting. I looked up some numbers in preparation to come here today, and the average cost for a full coverage policy in Florida runs between $3,200 and $4,200 for just full coverage, one vehicle. That's massive.
And that takes into account the average age then, right? So you're not looking at like a 16-year-old.
Yeah, when you have a 16-year-old driver, you're in what I call the penalty box. And
I'm not looking forward to the twins both driving at the same time.
You're going to be in the penalty box until they're in their 20s. That's just the way it is. Okay. But I will tell you, like, Progressive just announced, I just read it this morning, that they're looking at, they've announced just about an 8% decrease in premium for this cycle for them. So, not everyone's going to experience that, but Geico also announced the rate reduction, and State Farm has as well. So there's some good news there. I think we're top 3 in terms of most expensive states for car insurance.
And
So,
I know we're out of time, but I have one
Sorry.
burning question. Is it better to shop for your insurance each year, or is it better to stick with your carrier?
shopping is,
I'm a shopper.
you have to shop.
Okay.
You do. You should shop every year.
My
at this
dad
point.
was a State Farm, diehard.
Sure.
Never would even look at anyone else. And I will shop for the best price and policy every year. So
You have
good
to
to
do
know.
it.
Good
You
for
have to-
everyone else out there to know as well.
You have to do that.
Okay, well, we got to wrap it up,
Sorry.
folks. Unfortunately, as we always do, we run out of time before we run out of
We made
things
good
to talk
headway.
about. Yeah. So, but then we never have to just kind of pretend.
That's right.
So watch Real Estate Matters on YouTube or listen to an Apple podcast. Go to the landmarkgroupfla.com. Then click on the Real Estate Matters podcast up in the top navigation bar, or go to Flagler Beach TV, the Facebook page. Remember, if you're thinking of buying or selling a home or a commercial property, consider working with me and the rest of the experienced team at Landmark Group Compass. You can reach me at 386-931-7124, or you can email me at toby@gotoby.com. So thanks for being with us. Donnie, thank you for being with us again.
Thank you, Toby.
We'll have you back again soon. I'm Toby Tobin, and I approve this show.